They say the most powerful man in the kingdom can command armies. But what if the only thing he couldn't conquer was himself? This is the story of a mighty king who thought he ruled the world until one mirror showed him the truth. Once upon a time, in a grand kingdom surrounded by mountains and mist, there lived a king named Alexander. He was young, handsome, and wise, or so everyone said. His palace was made of marble and gold. Every morning, hundreds bowed before him, praising his strength and intelligence. But deep inside, King Alexander wasn't at peace. He often looked at his reflection in the mirror, smiling proudly at his crown, his robes, his power, but still he felt empty. Something was missing. He tried to fill the silence with banquets, battles, and endless praise. Yet every night, when he stood before that shining mirror, he could feel a strange unease in his heart. It was as if the reflection was hiding something from him. One morning, he called his trusted advisor, Ethan, and said, "Ethan, I have everything a man could want, yet I feel hollow. Why do I not see peace when I see myself?" Ethan hesitated, then spoke softly, "My king, I've heard of a hermit who lives beyond the river in the Valley of Silence. They say he holds a mirror unlike any other, a mirror that shows the truth." "The truth?" the king repeated, intrigued. "Prepare my horses. I must see this mirror." The journey was long. The king rode through forests, crossed rivers, and climbed steep hills. At last, he found a small hut beside a quiet stream. Inside sat an old man, calm as still water. King Alexander dismounted and said, "Old man, I am the ruler of this land. I've come to see your mirror of truth." The hermit smiled gently. "Every man who comes here claims to seek truth," he said, "but truth can be heavy. Are you ready to carry it?" The king straightened his shoulders. "I am." The hermit nodded and led him to a simple room. In the center stood a tall, dusty mirror. No gold frame, no jewels, just plain old glass. "Look into it," the hermit said. The king stepped forward and looked. At first, he saw his face, just as always. But as he stared longer, something strange happened. The reflection began to change. The crown faded. His robes turned to rags. His proud smile vanished, replaced by fear, anger, pride, jealousy, all the emotions he had hidden for years. He saw himself shouting at his servants. He saw himself ignoring the cries of the poor. He saw the faces of those who had feared him, not loved him. And then he saw a young version of himself, a boy who once wanted to be a kind and noble king. That boy looked at him and said, "What happened to you?" The king stumbled back, trembling. "This is not me," he cried. But the hermit spoke calmly. "This is you, my king. The mirror shows not your face, but your soul." Tears welled up in Alexander's eyes. For the first time in years, he felt small, not as a king, but as a man. He fell to his knees. "What must I do to change this reflection?" The hermit smiled. "You cannot change the mirror, Your Majesty. You must change yourself. When your heart becomes pure, your reflection will follow." The king returned to his palace quietly. The same walls, the same throne, the same crown. But everything felt different. He began to walk through his kingdom not as a ruler, but as a learner. He listened to his people. He apologized to those he had wronged. He spent time in the gardens, speaking to farmers, healing the sick, feeding the poor. And slowly, he began to feel something he hadn't felt in years: peace. Months later, he looked again into his own palace mirror. This time, he didn't see a crown or a title. He saw a man, calm, kind, and free. And in that moment, he realized the mirror of truth had never been magical. It was simply honest. It showed whatever was already inside him. The hermit's words echoed in his heart. When your heart becomes pure, your reflection will follow. And maybe that's true for all of us. We spend so much time trying to look perfect on the outside, trying to be successful, powerful, admired. But the mirror never lies. It shows who we truly are when no one's watching. So if your reflection doesn't bring you peace, don't try to fix the mirror. Fix what's within. Because the greatest crown you'll ever wear is a peaceful heart. And that was the story of the king and the mirror of truth. A reminder that the real kingdom we must rule is our own mind.